One, and welcome. I am very excited to be presenting to you today Proven Smart Reporting, and as Scott referred to it earlier, as the Analytics Powerhouse. You have a wealth of information in your data, and this is the powerful tool which will provide you access to dive deep to reveal trends and compare analytics behind your data. We are giving you the power to easily create and edit dashboards and reports and view them in real time, as well as share these with your team. I am going to start off by just going over a few housekeeping items for our online Zoom session today. So this session will be 30 minutes long, and we will have time for a few questions at the end. All of the attendees will be muted during the presentation. We do suggest that you do turn off your cameras if you have those on the computers, which is a video setting in your Zoom window. And in order to hear, you will need to have either speakers on your computers or dialed into one of the toll-free numbers that were in the invite to the meeting. This session will be recorded and made available via the Dropbox once the conference is finished. All sessions will also include a PDF guide with the outlines of what was covered. These will be made available through a bulk email that will go out, and the video library will be updated as well. Questions can be entered into the Zoom chat box during the meeting, and I will be reviewing those at the end. If not all the questions get answered, they will be responded to directly once the meeting wraps up. And if you have a question afterwards that you forgot to ask, you can send that directly to support@canamsys.com. Our agenda today, we're going to take a look at what's new with Smart Reporting since it was released last year, and look ahead at some future development items. I will be showing you one of the built-in dashboards that comes with Smart Reporting and how you can dynamically view your data with it. I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to create a new report, and we're going to take a look at scheduling that report to automatically send out to your team members. Let's get started. So one of the features that is available now since last year is that you have the ability to email out your reports to any of your team members, and they also can be scheduled yourself right from within Smart Reporting. The only item I might mention to do with that is if you have a timely report that needs to be out at a specific time and you are in a different time zone, then we will require that to be sent into support so it can be configured for the correct time zone for you. But other than that, you have the ability to do that all yourself now. And for our customers that have very large databases, there is a performance overhaul that is upcoming, which will allow you to produce your report results faster. The business views that are available right now, which a view is kind of like a window into your data that we have created. And as Brian mentioned earlier, the views, we have expanded those significantly since we released the product, and we want your feedback. If there is a set of data that is not available right now, we ask for you to let us know. If you're talking with a trainer, you can let them know, or you can email that into support@canamsys.com. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at today is some of the built-in dashboards and reports that come with Smart Reporting. Some of the key features that these do offer is giving you easy ways to just click and select items to filter and sort your data. You can start with a high-level view of your data and drill down in with links to open up other reports. You can have charts set up on your screen or graphs, and some really interesting conditional formatting that can be added to have kind of highlighting effect, or to point out possibly some critical data that needs to be addressed. So we're going to open up and take a look at Smart Reporting now. Okay. All right, so this is the Smart Reporting feature that is on my menu here inside of Proven Job Management. And this is a list here of, as the list of the job items that are here have a report type of built in. So these are all of the built-in reports that are available now. You have the ability to copy those reports if you notice the button over at the side, and we also can open them up to view them with the View button. A little bit later, we'll be creating a report from scratch using that button at the top left. So let's first of all take a look at a dashboard that is in the system already. So I'm going to open up the Project Coordinator dashboard. And I have that open here. And so here is the dashboard, and you can see there is a lot of great information at your fingertips here. So based on the date range that I have for jobs that were created, I have a lot of great information on my jobs received. You can see here we've got some dollar values of the jobs that are in this particular date range. See that we have a chart included in here to give us the totals of the jobs by the type. We've even got a second chart showing commercial versus residential jobs. Our bottom is showing the detail of the jobs that are meeting the criteria that we set on the dates. And we have other filter options that have been set up in this dashboard. So over on the left, you can see that if we wanted to just be looking at a specific location, I could click on Mississauga, and within a second or two, my data is going to refresh, and I'm going to be able to see just the jobs that meet that criteria. You can see it kind of spinning right in the middle, so you know that the report is going and refreshing your data for you. We have other filters as well that we'll be able to look at. By this particular dashboard has been set up with job type options, so you could filter it just to see one type of job. If you want to just to take a look at based on your referral types, you can choose that referral option, and also by project manager. I might just go back to here and I'm just going to reopen that report again. So from the beginning screen here, if I open up my PC dashboard, we will be giving the date parameters here. We can change this at this point, or we can just leave it with year to date and click the Submit button. And this will now pull in my data right from scratch again. See, we have a little mini toolbar at the top. This little full data is an interesting option that we'll take a look at when you're kind of editing reports, that you have the option to set that to only bring in a little partial set of your data, so that as you're changing in the creation of reports, you can use that to limit the amount of data that has to refresh. Okay, so we've got a new refreshed report here now to show you. So let's try that again. Let's go to Mississauga, and this should refresh here, nice. And we can see now we're just looking at the jobs specifically that are in that particular location. The little filter buttons that are on here have a couple of options here. One of them is a little clear, so we can easily take that and clear off the filter to return back to the full report. If we wanted to see for a specific project manager, let's just pick, got one named Caleb down here, and now this is report filtered just for Caleb's information. Right. The information that we have across the top, you can set up, so these little boxes across the top with our total jobs and values of the jobs here, you can set up a sub-report that you can click onto it and it opens up the details behind, which is basically another report that you can create and link to. This particular dashboard has a couple of reports that have been set up in these nice bright colored boxes. So we have a job audit report, a referral report, performance and communication. And those are reports, and I've got that one open. So I'm just going to go to the job audit, but you simply would click that and open it. And let's just take a peek at that job audit report, which is here. So basically this opens up and we have now our report information based on our criteria of the dates that are shown here. And this is showing you some of the power of the conditional formatting. So we have, if we wanted to kind of have different jobs of different colors show up, we can set our water jobs to be blue, mold jobs are green, reconstruction is a turquoise color. This bright red color is your eye gets drawn to that because it is a criteria that's set up to have a format to say, make this red if we have a job that has been sold, there's the approved date, April 20th, but we haven't got an estimated revenue. That needs to be addressed. So we have that information there. And again, we can have different filters set on, in this case, we've got job costs that are showing up in yellow due to the criteria on that one. So if we were to come here and any report that you open up inside, just to view it right now, you have in the very far left-hand corner a couple of arrows. By expanding that out, we can now put a filter on this, even though there isn't a special box on this screen to do a filter. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to click on the little filter button. And this opens up all of the fields that are part of the data that's feeding this report. And I would be able to go through and select which field I would like to put a filter on. So what I'm interested in doing is getting a hold of the project manager who doesn't have his estimated revenue. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to collapse the different fields first, and I'm going to go down into these different fields all have kind of different groupings. So I know that my employees are underneath this internal positions. And I want to, let's say it's the project manager that I want to deal with here. So I'm going to just put that. And now I have a filter list automatically on my left-hand side. And Caleb, I'd like to filter this. So I'm just seeing Caleb's jobs because I want to give this to him right now. So now I'm going to go up onto my little bar across the top. And this little tiny clock is the tool that is going to allow you to go in to either send it immediately or schedule it. So I am prompted to save this. So I'm going to say, yep, I would like to save the report with the filter for this project manager. And I want to put in a name of this. So I want to say job audit. And we want to send this to Caleb. So we would put Caleb's email address in this to field, a subject, a comment to address it. And we can send that out as a PDF to him with this check mark here. Or we could, if certain reports you might want to send it in Excel, you have all of these different options. And then we would click the OK button. And that would then send that email off to Caleb with a note that he needs to address this. So that's an example of a job audit report. One of the other audit reports that came off of the dashboard here was a communication report. And that's another one I will just briefly show you today as well. So I have that one opened up on this screen. So this is a communication report. And again, these reports don't have to be called and opened from the dashboard. This report is available as well right from the actual reports listing from Smart Reports, okay? So here again, we're just taking a look at this report. Kind of basically, it's a list of all jobs. And we can, in each one of the columns, you have a little arrow key if you hover your mouse over the labels. Let's just get this sorted by job number. It already is, it is. Maybe not, hold on a second. So what we're going to do with this report is we wanted to take a look at, we've got some information here that's kind of interesting. How many days since the last note was added on a job? So there may be different ways that you are tracking this for the jobs. And what we're going to do is want to pay attention probably specifically to those types of jobs that are have some, let's just take a look here. We've got 2 pages, so we'll just go down to the bottom. And this probably just, so what we could do here is we could set up a filter by asking it to only look at maybe the topic of ongoing problems. So I'll just show you how we would do that. Refresh. We're going to open it up fresh. Just 1 second. So I'm going to click on the communication report right from within the job dashboard. So we'll open it fresh from there. And maybe we will not do that one at this time. Okay, so let's, I had opened up these earlier and they just didn't get refreshed. So let's move on. So what we're going to do next is let us go back out to our smart reporting listing here. And I just wanted to point out these are the built-in reports here. This piece of communication is the one that I wanted to show you. So again, running it here would refresh it and would open it back up. And this is going to have your date ranges that you can set your criteria for that report if you're running it right from the menu. And it will come up with your information. And if we take this and again, we can see now it's sorted by job number. If I wanted to, just to show you real quickly, we add a filter like I showed you before, and we're going to do this by the topic. We want the specific important topics that we want to kind of analyze, what the follow-up days maybe should be done. So let's take a look at this topic called ongoing problem. So we can see here there were 2 jobs that had a topic entered about a problem. And the very top one there says that there was an ongoing leak, but that note was last added 100 days ago. So we look at the employee who put it in, and there's Miss Kristen. So we may need to send an email to Kristen, and we could do the same thing we did before, or I could open up my little button here and I could email Kristen and say, what's the status on this particular item here? Okay. All right. So now let us take a look now on how to create a report from scratch. So let us click on, right from the initial listing, we're going to click the Create button. Okay, so the first thing that is going to come up when you create a new report is going to be the data source. So this is what Ryan was referring to earlier as kind of the business views. So down the left-hand side is a list of all of these different views. So they've been named with different data kind of grouped together to allow you to view dashboards and reports. So scroll down here. You can see this has been expanded based on feedback from our customers. And the right-hand side will reflect the details if you do pick one of these views. So for example, if I pick job information, I have all of the information that I would need on locations. I'll just scroll down here to show you. I've got my dates available for the report that I'm creating, the details on the job, marketing information, some previous calculations that have been done by our programmers for you already, the employee information, and financials. You'll notice a couple of different descriptions or, little buttons beside the different types of fields. So anything with the little box is basically a direct field that is available. the one with the 3 lines means it is kind of a query going on in the background to pull that information in. And if you see the little triangle, that's what we call an aggregate. So it is also had some kind of calculation done to pull that information in for that value. Okay, so let's grab job information. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to add a job type. So I'm just going to do something straightforward to start with. So we're going to grab a job type. And I'm going to see my sales by job type. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to find under my financials, my invoiced amount. And I'm going to click OK. So based on whatever I clicked on in there, my report is now going to be created. You can click as many as you want, or you can start by just clicking a couple. And I'm going to show you here shortly how you can add on and expand the information you've selected or change it very, very easily. So what we've got here is job type and invoiced. If I realized, you know what, I would like to see my invoiced amount by my job subtypes. Let's go down, and again, I can scroll down now. I can see my data source that I'm working with on the left. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to collapse that and just expand it again so I can minimize this. So that's a little shortcut. And let's go down, and I think my job subtype is in the job details. And there it is. That's what I want. I would like my subtype. So I'm just picking it up, dragging it over, dropping it. Voila. We now can see our 3 pieces of information. Maybe I wanted to do a pivot table. So for those of you that don't know what that is, that's a term that people that have used Excel a lot with. And there's a nice little button right here in this middle panel of the different types of elements that you can choose. I'm going to click on that, and it is going to switch my view over. There we go, into a pivot table with one click. I have my job types down the left, and I have my subtypes across the top. Automatically total them for me by the row and the columns. Maybe I want a chart of this. I can go down and choose what type of chart I would like to see, and I'll just pick this chart here, and now we have our information presented in a chart format. Okay, we don't have a lot of time today, but you can, create basically your chart. If we wanted the graph to be right beside it, you can basically pull in this over here, and you can add in your data information again with those same pieces of information, and it will, and just switch that view over on that particular part to be the chart, and you've got that information side by side. Okay, so what we have done here, so we've got our information, and when we have created a report from scratch, when we're sitting with our mouse somewhere within it, I'm just going to show you, if I click the different parts here in the headers, all do different things, and the right mouse click provides you with the options of what you might want to do. You can sort, we can link to a different report if we had one made, we can apply conditional formatting. If we want to, simply click the whole column, we can change the sizing of it easily. You can do the formatting and fonts and all that kind of stuff. That's standard. The very top, when you're inside the data area, in the very top left, there is a little tiny button that comes up that lets you get into the whole properties of the entire area. That's called the Table Wizard. It's also available at the top here in the center of your different elements. So if we click the Table Wizard, this is what this is behind the scenes of what you have done so far. So when you get into the Table Wizard, you can see the columns that you have. And then over on this particular right-hand side, you can see the fields that have been brought in. And if we go to the summary, you can see that you have this different area. And we're going to open up another report here now, and I'm going to show you how this can give you a lot of powerful information. And sometimes people learn by looking at how something was done on another report. So you do have the option to open up and make a copy of any of the built-in reports that we provided for you. And then once you open that up and you can get into your edit mode, which is accessible in the top right, you're going to have the ability to go into this wizard and take a look at the information just to kind of get some more understanding of how things were done to do that. The other thing that's available as well is, and actually I'm going to show that to you in the other report. So let's go over, I'm going to actually open this up fresh. So it is one I just put together called an estimator scorecard. And again, if you've made something and there's that copy button, that will allow you to make a copy, to make an edit. You can't change a built-in report, but you can change a copy. Okay. So when we open up this estimator scorecard, we're seeing a date range of jobs. This is year to date, and that's fine. We can click submit. Okay. All right, so in my data that I have in the system here, I am seeing that I have 2 estimators, and I am seeing the information that in the date range that I've put in, that they've estimated, how many jobs they've estimated. And actually, that number is actually how many jobs they've sold. I'm going to, well, we go in there to look at it. We'll move that number over. We have the estimated revenue. So maybe you have a target for your estimators that they are to achieve a certain amount of sold jobs in a month. This would allow you to come in and they'd be able to take a look, and you can see where they are with their target. So we have Caleb and we have Deb as our estimators, and we can see that so far on this particular date range, we've got $9,000 of sold jobs, and we are going to, you know, if our target is 10, then Deb's almost on track. Caleb needs to get hustling because he's only got $4,500 so far, and it is the 29th of the month. All right, so let's go in to edit this report. So I'm going to click on the view mode over on the right. Whenever I open a report, I'll always be in view mode, and I'm going to click edit. And now we have all of our information that we can do editing with. And what we want to do here right now is I'm just going to go into that wizard that I mentioned. So my orange kind of line is around my grid, so I know I can get into my wizard. And I'm just going to show you that in this particular setup, I've got 3 tabs here with my details and which columns I have currently set. I'm going to click onto the group tab, and you can see that I asked that to be grouped by estimator. And on the summary tab, you can see underneath the estimator, I have added the count of what's the jobs that had an approval date in them. And this is the row is the header. I'm putting it at the header. You can actually set those to be on the footer of the screen or the header. And then this one right here is going to be the column where I wanted that. And remember, that wasn't in the right spot. So I really want the count of the approved jobs, which is the sold jobs, to be in that column. And this is the estimated revenue. I think that was fine where it was. So that doesn't have to be changed. And let's click OK. And that should update. And we should now see that reflected. It might just be a little refresh that I'm having right now. So that's basically how easy it is to go in to make those types of changes. I mentioned briefly earlier that you can, if you're editing and creating reports and you've got a large database, you can go in and set your data to be partial and put in a number of jobs that you want to actually pull back and forth as you're going through and working with the creation of your reports. And let's just say we wanted to send these out to our individual estimators. So let's do that right now. So we want to send it to Deb. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our filters, and we are going to ask the filter to set it just for Deb. Deb, we will have the report refresh. We will go up to the button I showed you before, which will, we're going to actually switch to view mode. We can't do the scheduling from there. We'll click on the button. It wants us to save the report. Of course, we would like to save it. And this is now what we're going to do is we're going to put, this is scorecard. And for Deb. And then we're going to change this button or this drop down right here to periodically. And this is where the fields open up, where you're going to be able to go in and you're going to set, do you want this to go out weekly to the person? You can set the day, the time, if you want it to be emailed, and then you can put in the email address, and you can put multiple email addresses in here separated by a comma. Put in your subject, your email, and then you could send it off either as a PDF or any of these types of data. And click OK, and that will schedule that. And as I mentioned earlier, if you do need to have any adjustments based on time zones, just send this schedule name into support with your company name as part of it so that they can take care of that for you. All right, so that is smart reporting. I am going to take a look now at the chat box. And we do have some questions. Okay, so first question is, for companies with large databases, you mentioned a release to help with producing faster reports to cut down on lag time. Is that live or is that a future release? So that is a future release item. Thanks for your question. And it is going to be done in 2020. I don't have any more narrow time frame on that, but that's what it's known as this point in time. Next question. Can we confirm what the monthly fee is to add smart reporting to a customer's database? Yes, so there is a fee for the smart reporting. Per license, it's $30 per license per month. That license can be used to allocated to different users, and that gives you full access to edit and view the entire smart reporting. And next question. Is there consideration for creating a mapping feature so that through these audit reports, you can not only see the list of jobs that a project manager has, but a map of where all those jobs are at? Since I've addressed populating, we have created this at our company, but I would believe it be a value added to come directly from PSA. Okay, yes, absolutely. So if this information that was just given, if this was from Dixie, please send this email in with this particular information in, and we would love to take a look at the details of making it available from PSA. As I mentioned earlier, we want your feedback too, because the suggestions that certain people have, I'm sure that a lot of you are going to have. Great question. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Where do we find the management of scheduled reports? That is a good question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I believe at this point, if you have a scheduled report that needs to be deleted, you will need to contact support at canamsys.com, and they will remove anything that's not required at this particular point in time. Okay. Okay. And I think I have time for one more question. Can these be added to the dashboard of the user so it pops up when PSA Web is open? So again, good question. Let's send that one into development for their consideration for future development. Okay. All right. So thank you all for the rest of the questions, and we will be responding to you directly with your responses. And thank you all for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care and be safe.